Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Elder. Welcome back to the Open Debate. We're going to be talking about quite a few things here tonight, going over the media's portrayal of the Convoy for Freedom 2020 that's been happening here in Canada, and the interesting things that have been said around it. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining us. If you are returning for a view in the future, thank you for being here. If you don't happen to see this live, well, I always appreciate the individuals who come and check things out afterwards. But with that being said, yeah, we're here today to talk about what's been happening in Canada. If you've been following the news at all, I'm sure that you've heard a little bit, if not a lot, about the Canadian trucker convoy for freedom. Um, there's been a lot said on both sides, good and bad. We're here to say today. We're here today to discuss what the media has been saying, go over a few articles, and look into some of the footage that we can see for ourselves. So, with that being said, keep me informed with how the stream is and how the sound is, how everything's going, and I'm sure that we can get into things right quick. I'll pull up an article for us to start reading. We're going to begin with this situation. This was from 1 week ago. Fringe minority in truck convoy with unacceptable views don't represent Canadians. Quote from Trudeau. So we'll start off by playing this video so you can get a little understanding of the background around what's been going on, and we can go from there with further discussions.
It's important to underline that close to 90% of truckers in this country are vaccinated, like close to 90% of Canadians. Over the past many months and years now, Canadians have stepped up to protect each other, to protect our frontline workers, to protect our elders, to protect our young people, to protect people like truckers who are putting food on our grocery store shelves. Canadians have stepped up to do the right thing to protect the freedoms and the rights of Canadians to get back to the things we love to do. We know the way through this pandemic is by getting everyone vaccinated. And the overwhelming majority, close to 90% of Canadians, have done exactly that. The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
Hear me now? Is my audio working well now? Hopefully it is. I'll give it a little check here. Check. Seems to be working. Hopefully it is. As you can tell, they've been framing this the entire time as though this entire convoy has been. Thanks. The entire convoy has been all about vaccine mandates on just crossing the border, when in reality, this has grown into a much larger movement than that, as it appears to be. And that's an interesting situation that we need to also look into, is where's the leadership behind this movement? What are the actual demands that are being put forth? And I think that in the end, the show of support is a way for individuals who don't have another outlet to let their steam out in a way that is not destructive, that is productive, and shows that they are fed up with what has been happening. But that's just my opinion. We'll keep going and reading these articles and seeing what they have to say, and countering with videos and footage from the event itself. So we'll continue on here with it saying, when the Canadian vaccine policy came into effect on January 15th, as many truckers, here, just give me a sec. Many truckers and politicians came out against the mandate. Just over a week later, on January 23rd, truckers hit the road in protest. In a post from the Freedom Convoy 2022 Facebook page, the organization said the trucking convoy is anti-government mandates, explaining they oppose any vaccine mandates, not just the one for truckers. That message, however, has become muddled as the movement grows. Muddled by the mainstream media's deceptive announcing reporting of this movement. Perhaps I'm not too sure how the message got so muddled. As you can see here, Ontario police investigating after one police officer decided to show support for the movement. We'll play that for you here.
I really wanted to give a shout out to all the truckers. I think what you guys are doing is incredible.
A message of support from an in-uniform Durham police officer posted to Twitter and heard across the country. Constable Erin Howard, as she identifies herself, calls members of the truck convoy making its way from BC to Ottawa true heroes as they protest the cross-border vaccine mandate for drivers.
You're fighting for our rights and freedoms, and right now it feels like we're a little bit at war, and those rights and freedoms are at stake.
Howard says she is a member of the group called Police on Guard and plans to meet the so-called Freedom Rally protesters in Ottawa when they arrive. Durham Police says it is aware of the video and is looking into the matter.
The opinions that she expresses obviously do not reflect the values of the Durham Regional Police Service.
The officer in the video is wearing her police uniform, which one expert at Ontario Tech University says violates a fundamental expectation in a democratic society.
That uniform gives you power, and therefore if you speak, you could be using essentially intimidation in the political process, and that ain't democratic.
Political scientist Timothy McNeil says police officers don't lose their freedom of speech when they join the force, but when they wear that uniform, they must understand that expectations change.
When she takes off that uniform and puts on normal people clothes, she can do what she wants, and she can say what she wants, because she doesn't have that power to intimidate in that situation.
Speaking generally, Durham Police says officers in uniform must follow policies and procedures.
Especially when we're wearing the uniform or representing the organization, we have to adhere by those rules.
The Durham Regional Police Association declined comment on the matter, and the officer in the video didn't respond by deadline. Durham Police hasn't said whether the officer was suspended or...
Well, we've heard enough. You can hear that they don't like that she expressed her opinion in uniform, although we've seen many times they don't seem to have much of a problem if you are expressing an opinion that is backed up by the mainstream narrative, such as Black Lives Matter or Indigenous issues. Those would be completely fine. Although all of these issues seem to be encompassed into one movement if you choose to be behind it. But, it seems to be under attack. So we're going to see what other things people have to say. That's just my opinion. Could be wrong. Anyways, going through, yeah. So we know what's going on. At the end of the article, they have to throw up the COVID cases because that's a classic trope for Canadian media. How else are they going to manipulate you into being afraid if you are not constantly looking at numbers that are being told to you are scary? So with that being said, that was about a week ago. That was before the trucker convoy got into Ottawa, and since then they've arrived. They've clearly been there. If anyone has seen the news, and so what has been happening? What's been going on? When they got there, was there destruction? Did they destroy the entire city? Did they burn things down? Was there 500,000 trucks? Was there 1 million people, like they said? Well, to the best of my knowledge and ability to see with my eyes, it doesn't seem like there were 500,000 trucks in Ottawa. It seems as though I don't know, maybe 10,000. I wasn't personally there over the weekend, so but from the videos that I've seen and people on the ground that I do know that were there, that were sending me videos, it was pretty hectic. Quite a few people were there. Thanks for joining us in the chat, Ken. Fucking hell, I actually made it for once. Yes, you did. And here we are talking about what's been going on with the trucker protest here in Canada. So, with that being said, what's actually happening, right? When you get on the ground, it seems as though people are having fun. They're coming together. Lots of people, individuals that wouldn't normally be together. Well, that's the thing. They would normally be together, but it wouldn't be being shown. You don't see everybody, different ages, races, genders coming together and saying, "We all agree in the same thing, and we're going to show our support together through a peaceful means of getting together and cheering in the streets, cheering on the individuals that we feel as though support the community, and yeah, just coming together in general." Although that's not the way it's been being portrayed whatsoever. So we will discuss. We will discuss. That's the way we do things here. And so we'll just get into a situation like this. Sorry guys. Flipping all over the place. Blog TO. Perfect. Perfect example. Blog TO is a perfect example of a news organization that people believe are independent, but choose to act very biased towards one side of the narrative. Whether or not they are government funded, I am not 100% sure. I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is that they put out articles like this and choose to manipulate the public with ideas like someone graffitiing freedom at a school is anti-vax, and it just kind of blows my mind. Who sat there and wrote this article thinking this is definitely the way reality works? It's being condemned as deplorable. Obviously, graffitiing, like vandalizing things, that's not okay. That's not it's not really a good way to show your support. Writing freedom on something, although it's vandalizing, really I do not believe personally has anything to do with an anti-vax agenda. But that's just me. Those are just my thoughts. Ken says urinating on war memorials. People don't walk dogs anymore. I still remember when the left literally pulled down and decapitated John A. McDonald, and that's true. That did happen. That is something that they choose not to talk about, and it's one of those things that's brushed under the rug. But that happened. John A. McDonald was toppled over, decapitated. There were many statues vandalized with red paint throughout the last few years. It's been a serious thing where people have been destroying statues, although those statues were not Terry Fox. Messalinga, thanks for joining. If the graffiti is ACAB, then it's okay. Yeah, well, that seems to be the way it goes sometimes. rules for thee, not for me. Anyways, Blog TO, they have this article here. We're going to go through it and we're going to discuss a few things. Trucker convoy protesters slammed for urinating on memorials in Ottawa. First of all, in memorials, there's been multiple memorials that were urinated on. The only thing I've seen is one picture, so we'll go. The now infamous trucker convoy that last week made its way through Canada to protest specific vaccine mandates. Vaccine mandates. See how they initially go to that instead of, from 1 week ago, the article that we just read saying that it was all about mandates in general, all vaccine mandates. Yet the idea has been skewed. Hey, Billy Joe, thanks for joining us. Although the view has been skewed, and how has it been skewed? By media outlets like this, putting out propaganda pieces saying to protest specific vaccine mandates. So notice how there is no link to specific vaccine mandates because they can't link anything saying that. It's now firmly camped out in Ottawa, where the streets have exploded into melee alongside several planned freedom rallies in the nation's capital. Into melee, trying to get you to think that it's violent. Protesters started descending upon Parliament Hill by the thousands on Saturday, many of them carrying signs, some bearing hate symbols, and chanting for an end to all COVID-19 lockdown measures, as well as Premier Justin Trudeau's resignation. Some participants or supporters also took it upon themselves, apparently, to do some redecorating in downtown Ottawa's desecrating a statue of Terry Fox and parking on the grounds of National Cenotaph and urinating on multiple war memorials. Okay, multiple. First of all, this is the only image that I've seen. I think peeing on the war memorial where Capital Cirillo was murdered ended what micro silver of legitimacy your freedom rally had. That spot right there literally looks like a dog peed, for one. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I think it looks like a dog peed on the ground. If somebody peed on the spot, no one's here to defend that, right? I do not think that anybody is going to defend that. But something that I'd like to pull up just because it's vital that everything gets shown in proper context is you have this going around where they continue to show the war memorial in this light, and then you have things like this. So these are people praying at the war memorial. That's probably gonna get me not good. Don't want that music in there. But either way, this is people praying, putting down flowers outside the war memorial. Now, like, come on, tell me that you've seen that. If you've seen it, please, I'd love to know what outlet showed you that people were also peacefully having good demonstrations. While initially meant to be a peaceful demonstration, the protest appears to have grown far beyond what organizers had planned. Truck drivers and their supporters have now spent an entire weekend partying, blaring horns, and otherwise disturbing peace to the point the cops in Ottawa were forced to shut down entire city blocks. And yeah, it's been loud. If you've seen any of the videos, it's been loud. I don't need to play that. The thing is, people have not been violent. They haven't been destructive. In this sort of situation, when you have so many people coming together with different agendas from different movements that all seemingly support the same thing, it's very easy for things to clash, for there to be counter protests, for individuals to be bad actors and just cause destruction and harm because they want to see the movement fail. And throughout all of that, there were thousands of people there. Nothing happened. There was nothing violent, no arrests made there. Now, apparently, they're looking for the people that were dancing on the war memorials and dressing up Terry Fox, just looking for something. But It's very interesting. If this was a movement of any other kind that we've seen in the last few years, it would have devolved into absolute chaos, like absolute madness, at least in my opinion. But that's just what I have to say. So far, we haven't seen much destruction, much chaos, or anything like that. But individuals are starting to get upset with the truckers being there, being so loud, being so. Well, certain individuals don't believe that they should be there. And so they're trying to stand up for their rights by doing things like this. So this is a lady throwing eggs at trucks.
Wow, hate crime.
I saw somebody say that they should have asked for some bacon to go along with that. And here's another video of a man who apparently hasn't slept in 5 days because of the noise, and he has had enough. So those are some people that are getting upset. That's some people that are standing there talking about it. Just a little insight into what is actually happening, because people are getting upset. There are people that live in Ottawa, but this is much bigger than losing a bit of sleep, I guess. On Saturday afternoon, all streets within the capital's downtown core were closed off to traffic on account of gridlock. Police continue to ask everyone to avoid downtown Ottawa as of Monday morning, ahead of yet another planned rally coinciding with Parliament's return to sitting after the winter break. Police are aware of many demonstrators have announced their intentions to stay in place. This will continue to cause major traffic, noise, and safety issues in the downtown core, wrote the Ottawa Police Service in a statement issued Sunday evening. I guess, of course. People are desecrating war memorials, defacing Terry Fox statue, and stealing food from soup kitchens, and have been waving Canadian flags covered with swastikas, blah, 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 blah. They've been treated with more respect than people who are actually being oppressed. Consider why that might be. Okay, so let's break down a few things here. Let's start with the soup kitchens. There's no way for me to prove or disprove that individuals have been stealing food from soup kitchens, okay? I cannot confirm that they have. I cannot confirm that they haven't. But what I can show you is a counter perspective that they do have food for themselves. They've been donated quite a bit of food. And from what I've heard, they've donated and also raised a lot of money for the local homeless shelters in Ottawa. Now, this is something that you will have to come to terms with yourself if you are seeing for the first time. But
the truckers are not stealing food, they are giving it.
Yeah, and people, homeless people, are able to come and help themselves there. Like I've just everybody. Yeah, this is all donated food. Yeah, anybody, exactly. And this, like, just to give you context, this is where we are right now. We're just actually, my directions are terrible. I just had a conversation with that guy, and I asked him, are people allowed to come and just take food? And he said anybody can. I said even people from the streets, if they're homeless, they can just come up. And he said absolutely. So it really is. It's not what you're being told right now. Like the story about them stealing food from the homeless shelters. There's no need for them to do that. They have all of these donations, and people are coming up all the time, giving food, like replenishing the stock. They have no reason to take from those places. So just be careful what you see, because I'm down here, I'm chatting with the truckers. He just said we're not leaving here until something changes. So he's actually, that's what it's all about.
so, as you can hear, they apparently homeless people, they can come up, they can get the food, they can eat some, they're giving it out. And that wasn't addressing donations to the homeless shelters at all. That was just simply addressing the fact that they have lots of donations, they have food there for them. They don't really need to be going to homeless shelters to eat. So if those videos that are going around with the audio clips stating that people need to eat from homeless shelters, those could simply be bad actors trying to make the movement look bad. It could also be somebody who was ignorant and didn't realize they could get food and felt as though they needed to go to a homeless shelter. Like I said, there were thousands of people there. Not everybody's going to be the smartest cookie in the bunch. So let's move on to claim number 2. Terry Fox being desecrated. So, as you saw, Terry Fox is dressed up as, we'll go down, this is right here, dressed up as a freedom fighter. They say mandate freedom, an upside down Canadian flag because they're not happy with the way that the Canadian government's being run, and a Canadian flag draped around him with a hat on as well. So that's what's going on. And up here it says, there are some lines you just don't cross. I'm the mayor of Terry Fox's hometown. He's our city's hero, national inspiration, and a unifier. Whatever your cause, you don't get to appropriate his legacy and you don't touch his statue, ever. This should be removed immediately. What do we have here? I'm sure that this was absolutely fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There was no big statement, no huff or puff. It's just a serious situation. Something to think about, the hypocrisy that you see in front of you, but when it's happening in real time, it's good to call it out, and that's what we're here to do today. So it's just crazy to see. Interesting situation. All right, let's move to number 3. They called out swastikas. Canadian flags covered in swastikas have been treated with more respect than people who are actually being oppressed, because they were saying that they are waving bad flags around, as you can see in here. Bam. Bad flag. They don't like the Gadsden flag, but mainly this flag is what we're looking to not like, as well as the, whatever you call it, the flag, the Southern flag. I don't even remember what it's called. But either way, a good perspective to think of. Once again, I will bring this up for you. Clearly, there will be individuals that are bad actors in every group, but there are also situations to keep in mind like this.
Now he's gone.
So first of all,
Call him out. He knows.
the protesters are getting rid of this guy,
Send him shame now.
right? They're telling him to go. And let's just pause on this guy. Look at this guy. Does that look like one of the protesters? Does that look like what any of them look like? Completely dressed up, completely covered, doesn't want to show his face. Interesting situation. Who is this guy and what's happening? Why is he there? What is he doing? So, Confederate. Yeah, I don't know why I had such a brain fart. Thank you. Yeah, just something to keep in mind. Who are these people? What are they doing? And yeah, why are they there? So there have been lots of complaints. Oh, maybe these are some more P marks that I didn't see. I don't know. Yeah. This is a person dancing on the memorial, apparently desecrating the war memorial. And yeah, it's really interesting to see. You have this article, Ottawa Soup kitchen staff allegedly harassed by truck convoy protesters, right? Let's see what they say here. I don't know if they're going to say anything. It's just like video of the street. Yeah, it's just straight video of them on the street. That's okay. President and CEO of Shepherds and Good Hope says donations and messages of support are pouring in after protesters allegedly harassed staff at an Ottawa soup kitchen. See, they allegedly harassed somebody, and now apparently there's an onslaught of support and donations. Deidre Freight says the rally against COVID-19 restrictions and the Liberal government rolling the capital's downtown has disrupted local services and blocked road access to their shelter. She says several protesters showed up at the soup kitchen on Saturday and allegedly verbally abused staff and volunteers while demanding they be served. She says some protesters were given food to defuse the situation. In a statement emailed to Global News, the CEO said one server was also assaulted by protesters, and when security guard, who was a member of the visible minority, went to help the individual, they had racist abuse hurled at them. Shepherds of Good Hope had no desire to comment on the protest. The statement went on to say, however, they felt compelled to correct disinformation on protest communications channels that were happy to feed the patrons. This was not the case. So they're saying that the protest was not. It's not. They're not feeding any homeless people. They will not give any money to homeless people, or not money, but any food to the homeless people. So that's what they're saying. Nobody's going to give them any food. The disruption caused by the disruption caused by the truck convoy protesters. The staff at Shepherds of Good Hope serve roughly 400 meals a day to those in need, and due to the pandemic, they have to get people in groups of 30 to try to keep people safe. So Philip said the incident caused a lot of disruption. In a statement, the CEO said incessant honking and noise from the trucks caused significant anxiety to their staff, volunteers, and people using shelter services. Wow. So I'm sorry, but if the honking and trucks, the noise and honking from the trucks is causing significant anxiety to your staff members and volunteers, then you probably shouldn't be in that position if you cannot handle loud noises. That's it's getting a little bit too much here. This led to staff taking many breaks throughout the day. The shelter also saw an increase in mental health distress in its residents. I have no doubt that the residents probably do have mental health issues, and so I'm not going to call them out on being distressed. But the staff members helping these individuals, they should probably be of sound mind. Unfortunately, we're in the midst of many challenges, and we have an ongoing opiate crisis. The pandemic is still here, and we have a housing crisis. So there are many more people coming for shelter services than you had. And then you had to add this incident to it, says Freire in an interview with Global News. It's been super challenging for the staff. They're exhausted, they're tired, and when they see people coming in taking services from people who need it the most, they're very discouraged. Yeah. I feel you. So pretty much they're saying that the protesters are disrupting the soup kitchen and the staff and all that. So you have to have both perspectives. That's what they are saying. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. Cannot say what they're saying isn't true. But I also can't say that it is true. It's all out there for you to see. So when you can, I don't know, TikTok's a good place to go because people are taking just videos and throwing them up. And you can just see people on the street, see what's happening in real time instead of a curated situation like this, even where I'm showing you videos of things happening. You can see things happening in real time. And so, with the desecration of Terry Fox, once again, quick, good, easy thing to see is just to have in your head, right? To remember. Definitely cannot have that in there. people polishing up the statue, right? Seems like something that is not going to be talked about too often, but something that is going to be good to have in front of your head, in front of your face to see. Also, here's a good situation, right? These are the people that are not allowing protesters or homeless people to have any food. Apparently, the people out there playing hockey. All those people out there, all supposed to be supporting freedom, yet apparently they don't let anybody have any food unless they're part of a movement. They're very unsupportive. Apparently, this is what I've heard. What we're hearing there. It's an interesting situation. So, as they've been going on, they've been saying that it's been a serious situation on the town, that they're causing disruption, that it's people are unhappy with it, and I'm sure many people are unhappy with it. Here are just 2 videos of the morning after. So this is Sunday morning. So people are shoveling off the sidewalk. Interesting, right? These protesters that camped out there all night long are now out cleaning off the sidewalk. This is what the streets were looking like.
The cleanup. Thank you. Thank you. Look at the streets. We partied like crazy yesterday.
I mean, what kind of protest have you ever seen with that many people that
Thank you, brother.
cleans up after themselves and makes sure that the streets look like nobody was there the next day? It's a pretty interesting situation, the way the media is trying to portray these individuals, but you can see for yourself exactly what's going on and what is happening. You have statements from the literal prime minister. This was just today, I believe. Today in the House, members of Parliament unanimously condemned the anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-black racism, homophobia, and transphobia that we've seen on display in Ottawa over the past number of days. Together, let's keep working to make Canada more inclusive. Honestly, at this point, it's becoming laughable. I don't know, like, is this a joke? Did he see the same things that we all saw as Canadians coming together? It's very, very strange. This is literally a scene from the protest. Seems very racist to me. Once again, look how many people are there. And you just saw the next day there was absolutely no garbage anywhere. So when you look at this statement, it's like he tries to hit on absolutely every single thing that he can. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-black racism, homophobia, and transphobia. What did he miss? Let me know. Let me know what he missed, but I'm not too sure. So, as you can see, the media likes to portray things in a certain light. It's not always the way that it is. This has been an interesting situation, an interesting protest, and an interesting I don't know what to call it, an interesting movement, to say the least. I'm going to end off with a little situation that has been going on, and if you, I don't know, I haven't seen any articles about this, but it's very strange. Keep in mind, there are paid actors in this movement. There are people that are looking to benefit themselves, and they don't care about the Canadian people. So, Gurmit Gill, keep this man in mind. Keep this name in your head, and remember this face.
I'm stuck like a box of 3D. No shower, nothing, anything.
You feel safe
No, anybody, no safe.
carrying loads of goods intended for Calgary grocery stores. Several truckers tell Global News they feel like hostages. caught up in a blockade that does not represent them.
So this man just said he doesn't feel safe. He's stuck there, using this opportunity to get 15 seconds of fame from the media there. Now take a look at this.
This good fellow here is hoping to slap some, donate some money for the Freedom Convoy. Giving truck drivers food.
So for the number of truckers who are now stuck here, I just want to get home.
I'm stuck like about 3 days. No shower, nothing, anything.
Do you feel safe?
No, anybody, no safe.
Carrying loads of goods intended for Calgary grocery stores, several truckers tell Global News they feel like hostages caught up in a blockade that does not represent them.
Now, that's not in Ottawa. That is at the border. This man, I cannot say for certain that he is taking this opportunity to use this for 15 seconds of fame. But what I can tell you is that the media is taking the opportunity to use what he said for their agenda. Is he afraid? Is he fearful? Perhaps many people are afraid. Many people are fearful, but not in the way that they are trying to portray it. He seems to have been working and happy to be with the truckers that are there. He's a trucker himself. It's a very interesting situation how you can see how the media manipulates things. When it's skewed from just their perspective, it seems as though he's a man in distress who just wants to get home to his family and is afraid for his life due to the events the events at hand. When you see the behind the scenes, you see that he's happy, he's fine, he's working with the truckers, donating food, trying to make some money that while he's there. Different situation altogether. But those are just my opinions, my perspective, my thoughts on things. Always curious to hear what you guys have to say and what you think. That's what this channel is all about. It's the Open Debate. Thank you for joining us today. We will be back soon. If you do not know, there's a TikTok that we post quite often on, doing live streams and on the street interviews. So there'll be a lot of content coming soon. Doing more of these shows. Always here to have a good conversation. Like to hear from you guys in the chat. Thanks for joining here today, Ken. Everybody else that was here, Billy Joe. Thanks for coming Thanks for joining, Winter. Everybody. It's been a good day. It's been a good time. Good chats. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's all we're going to talk about for the day. And thank you guys for coming out. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and follow along. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of today's show. So my name's Elder, and if you didn't know, be your own hero, kids.